get cracking.
All right, guys, welcome back to Game 3 of Team Liquid versus Na'Vi. It's been one hell of a series so far, and I expect even greater things as we go into Game 3. And we're going to go straight into the draft right now as I welcome in my my fellow caster. First of all, Ayesee is going to be joining us for the play-by-play, and we'll do those introductions. We also have a lot of other things to get through before we talk about the draft as well. Ayesee, buddy, though, your mic's doing that thing again.
What's it doing? Is it
it's
too high?
picking up all the background noise again.
And we'll hope that fixed it. We good to go?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, that's odd. It was actually registering all clear on my side. Sometimes whenever I have a crash, just the interaction and software causes an issue. But either way, great to be back. And I'll tell you what, man, we've got about 2 days of Dota packed into just 2 games so far. A collective 130 minutes over the first 2 games and what has been an absolute great series. Best series that I think I've casted throughout 2014 so far, just in a standalone sense. You know, all other factors taken away. Yes, it's just a group stage and all that, but still just a phenomenal series so far. Both of these teams taking it down to the wire. Na'Vi battling back to knot things up in Game 2 after Team Liquid stole one, and one of the best comebacks I've ever seen in competitive Dota. Can't wait to see what both of these teams have in store for us in Game 3. But you know how this goes, don't you? Like, we had 2 very close, very back-and-forth matches. This is going to be like a 25-minute GG. Wait and see.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way it always goes.
Yeah, one team's just going to crush the other, but we'll have to see who does it, though. Real quick, though, guys, we do have to do our daily rare giveaway. I know some of you have just been waiting, like, where's the rares? Where's the rares, guys? Yeah, they're coming. They're coming right now. In fact, we're going to give it about a minute after I talk about, I'm going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the other thing that's going on at d2cl.org. We're going to do that whole spiel, and then I'll throw out the code live right here, right now, so be prepared. Go to Dota2lounge.com/giveaway. Be ready to put in that code to get your free 10 rares. I'm just going to throw it out on stream. The other 2 sets of rares, it's 10 rares apiece for each code. The other 2 rares are going to be up on Ayesee's and I's Twitter. So after this game, we're going to throw out a code each, and you guys have your chance to be able to win even more rares. So be sure to be ready for that. Real quick, though, Dota 2 Champions League. They want to be able to make an announcement about Season 3, and they have actually, I've just gotten word, they have it up right now. They didn't actually wait until the match was completely open. They threw it out right now. So d2cl.org, go check out the news segment, and you have everything that you need and every single reason to buy a ticket. We've got basically D2CL is instituting these milestones for how many tickets are being sold, and they have these big prizes for the community that are going to be just extra added incentive. I mean, if the punch set wasn't enough, if the excellent games that you're being able to watch right now isn't enough, then this should really put you over the edge. First milestone, 25,000. The Season 3 qualifiers will be available on Dota TV for all Season 2 ticket holders. So not only are you buying this, but you're buying the qualifiers as well. See, milestone 2, 30,000, dueling mini championship featuring 4 mid players. So basically, we have this only mid championship to see who's the best mid out there. 35,000 tickets are sold. We get another upgrade, which is then we have 4 different teams going up against each other in an ability draft mode. I know a lot of you guys have been interested to see how the pros fare in the very skilled arena of ability draft, but you may get your chance. There are 2 other milestones that are really big. 45,000 tickets sold. We have a Gold Madness match is what they're going to be calling it. But basically, it's a match that is based on kills, not necessarily the objective. And teams will actually be able to earn money based on the kills they're able to get. So there are certain objectives, like a fast Roshan kill before the creeps spawn nets you $200 extra. So that should be just a really interesting, fun match to be able to watch. And then finally, last but not least, and this is the one that really took me by surprise and that just kind of shocked me. 50,000 tickets are sold. If 50,000 tickets are sold, viewers will be able to select the city host of Season 3's LAN finals, either Kiev, Moscow, Stockholm, Cologne, Paris, or Valencia. Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big freaking deal, don't you think?
Yeah, this is huge. When I was like scrolling through, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, oh, a fun and ability draft. And then like the gold match, I was like, oh, I've never heard of that idea before. That's really cool. and then all of a sudden, land finals.
Just throwing it out there because I have no doubt with the amazing support of our just truly phenomenal community that D2CL will be able to eclipse that last mark. My vote goes to Valencia. You guys need to vote Valencia too. I was there for DreamHack Valencia. It is freaking gorgeous. Trust me, Valencia is awesome. All the other cities are great too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, if you get if I was going to travel to a Dota event in any city, I would so go lay on the beach or just walk around the beaches and check the city out and then go watch the land at night. That would be pretty magical in Valencia. So just my 2 cents. But as Capitalist said, make sure you guys look into getting the tickets. And remember, if you want to support this and make this happen, and you already have a ticket, you can buy another one and then maybe give it to a friend or sell it on the market or something like that. But thank you guys. And again, I'm just kind of connected through Join Dota, filling in for Toby while he's busy elsewhere over these last couple of weeks. But still, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with them, and more than anything, to work with these sponsors, to work with the D2CL, to bring you this content. So thanks to you guys already for making this possible. And of course, consider it. Consider maybe picking up a ticket if you haven't already. Consider maybe purchasing an extra one. Let's see if we can hit these milestones, guys. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, well, we can finally get into the draft. Fortunately, it seems like the teams use a lot of their bonus time while we're going over that whole spiel. Wait. I missed it. I said I was going to do it. Rare giveaway. I know somebody was like,
there you go.
The rare giveaway. Somebody's like, I don't care. I just want my rares. Give me my rares. All right, the code, Dota2Lounge.com/giveaway. You better be there because I'm throwing it out right now. I'm not waiting. FOHL. Put that in, get your 10 free rares, and let's get into this draft, guys, because we are really underway here. We've got Nyx Assassin, a Life Stealer, Invoker, Storm Spirit, all being banned out. Team Liquid looking at a push strat as they pick up Luna, Nature's Prophet, and Shadow Shaman. Na'Vi, though, have a good fighting lineup with the Bristleback, Ancient Apparition, and a very strong laning support in Visage.
Yeah, what jumps out immediately is Team Liquid. I'm not going to lie. Since the latest patch, I'm absolutely in love with Shadow Shaman. I think he is a hero that's due to gain a lot more popularity. I mean, we're seeing him played more and more often already, make no mistake. But what the hero gives you in the early and mid-game phases, especially if he gets off to a decent start, he lands a couple of kills, or maybe he's just a part of a couple of early towers, which is very easy. You get him to level 6, you get into position, and you take a tower. That's just how it works. It's so hard to fight past his wards if he's able to get them down before you can get into a defensive position, or unless you have some sort of long-range, reach-based initiation, be it a puck, be it a Storm Spirit, be it a Clockwork. Those are pretty decent answers, but that forces you to draft a certain way. He has actually really nice AoE burst coming out from Aethershock, and of course the disables, Shackles and Hex. The hero just has it all. He has burst, he has push, he has counter push, he has the ability to lock a target in with his wards, etc., etc., etc. And seeing Team Liquid pick him up to go with the split push potential of a Nature's Prophet, the late game carry potential, and combined split push potential of a Luna, I really like this core 3 out of Liquid so far. Na'Vi, on the other hand, adding the Mirana to their front 3, Bristleback, an excellent hero, but does need to kind of like we saw in Game 2 on both sides. You need to get him in control early and keep him in control. They're going to be relying on a lot of very well-chained initiations to make this happen based on the compositions we see so far, with Mirana Sacred Arrow looking to chain off of Grave Chill, looking to chain off of Cold Feet and the rest.
Yeah, right now, Liquid, especially with the Elder Titan pickup, we talked about this earlier, he works really well with push lineups because of the fact he's able to throw out that Spirit, and it basically gives you initiation without having to commit anything, right? The Spirit just kind of sits there. If it's in a good position, you're able to get a good stomp, perfect. Otherwise, it's just a zoning factor that it forces teams to actually get close to it in order to protect their tower. So this means very easy Tier 1 and Tier 2s. However, Na'Vi have this really good combative lineup. I mean, Mirana and Bristleback, both heroes that don't go late very well, but they control the mid-game like none other. They output damage that is just unparalleled pretty much, especially the Bristleback and the physical damage he's able to output. The question is, he's one of those few heroes, by the way, who can actually stand up against an Elder Titan, because as much extra damage you get from that Spirit, Bristleback gets as much with his Warpath, and then you start throwing down that minus armor from goo and everything else. So Bristleback, a really strong pickup, especially here for Na'Vi, because they need that sort of combative, constantly go, and not just let Liquid set up on a tower, because once they're set up, man, they aren't moving for all the money in the world.
I'm anxious to see how they're going to end up laning this out. They could be looking to run a potential 3-core or 2.5-core even if you want to send the Bristle back into the safe lane, take another mid with your last draft pick here, and then put Mirana in the off lane. Very possible they do that. They also could run Dindy mid on the Mirana, or hell, I've seen Na'Vi run Bristle back mid before. So their options are wide open to them. For Team Liquid, it seems a little more predictable. They're going to need another support to go with Luna and Shadow Shaman. Nature's Prophet most likely going to be in the jungle / off lane with Elder Titan, probably taken mid again by Bulba. And really, it was Bulba's playing game too that made that game so competitive from Liquid. I mean, Na'Vi, by the time Puppey started to get into his groove and land those black holes, they by the time that happened, they were beginning to lose steam. Liquid reached that point and was able to extend that game, though, because of the play of Bulba, and they'll want to get him off to a good start. And it will be a mid-Magnus. Now, it's kind of a joke more so than anything. I mean, Dindy has a certain type of hero that he excels at, and Magnus really doesn't necessarily fit that characteristic. Not to say he's terrible on the hero. I mean, he's freaking Dindy. He's pretty good at most heroes he plays. But his performances on Magnus in the past have been suspect, and they're going to need him to really play well here today, because when it comes to lockdown, they simply have none outside of Sacred Arrow, potential Cold Feet procs, and then, of course, the reverse polarity.
Yeah, so far, I think that I kind of question the Magnus pickup. I mean, it's good initiation and everything else, but I have to say I really prefer Liquid's lineup, because not only does it have the early game, it has the movement with the Nature's Prophet, but it's also got the late game in Luna. Now, we do have a lot of direct damage. We have the direct lockdown with the Magnus, as well as the direct physical damage with the Bristleback, so any sort of hero that is able to output that is really, really good versus Luna, especially if the added bonus of their being very, very tanky. So any hero like Elder Titan, like Lifestealer, like Bristleback are going to go do well against Luna in the mid game, because it means you're no longer limited by the opening of get Luna before she picks up a BKB, because at that point in time, Luna becomes a lot more powerful in team fights, and especially that level 2 ultimate. She becomes a bigger factor in team fights and actually is able to contribute a lot. But you're still able to combat that by just being able to either A, have initiation, or B, have some good tanky heroes of widespread of damage, hopefully with that Eclipse, and just go for that physical damage and just let Bristleback beat her down, even through the BKB.
Absolutely. The lockdown advantage by far, though, is on the side of Team Liquid. With Shadow Demon there, with Disruption, with Demonic Purge, as not necessarily a lockdown spell, but certainly a keep you at stationary kind of a spell, which can be excellent against a hero like Bristleback. Then you've got Shadow Shaman, his full kit. You've got the Stomp coming out from the Elder Titan. I really like the way that they're going to match up, given one stipulation. They need to make sure TC is not only off to a good start. I mean, we always say that. Casters of all stripes, we always say that. Get off to a good start. Execute early. That's one thing. His item choices need to be good. He needs to be in position, and they have to pick his shots early. When it comes to a Luna, yeah, sometimes you'll see her just team fight snowball out of control because she hits eclipses and piles up 4 or 5 kills early. That's few and far between. What tends to happen is she comes to fights, maybe she dies once, maybe she gets a kill once before she starts to get up her big items, her damaging items, etc. So often, the key to playing a good Luna and seeing a Luna executed well at the professional level is deciding when she's going to come to fights, when she's going to split push, when she's going to flash farm. Liquid, very good at that in most cases. They have the lockdown. They have the ability to keep these towers up with the Shadow Shaman and with the Elder Titan. So as long as TC's decision-making is on par, I like their chances moving ahead to the late mid-game and especially into the late game.
Yeah, and something that they're already doing that I love, dodging the tri-lane. The Mirana at Ancient Apparition Visage. Now, it's not going to take much because these two supports are just going to rotate to top, and they'll join a Bristleback who is not hindered in many ways by a tri-lane either. He's able to do a decent amount, especially if he's able to pick up level 3 before they come in. The biggest thing about Bristleback, he doesn't want to be in a tri-lane, is the biggest thing is he needs levels. He needs to be able to have that level 5 at least for Quill Spray to be effective and in these sort of drawn-out team fights. Otherwise, it takes too long for Quill Spray to really be very, very strong. So I like this initial setup of lanes by Liquid, and even to keep a single support bottom, just to make sure that they don't leave Koifa alone against what is a pretty intense kill lineup from Na'Vi.
And, something that surprised me right off the bat is the fact that it's going to be Havos farming the Mirana. I mean, it's not like it's weird, you know, it's not like he's never done it before. But for a while there, he did play a fair amount of one-position Bristleback, and I really expected that to be the case. I got to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of a one-position Mirana. You have to, and Havos, you know, he loves to play aggressive, and he's excellent at it, but he is, first and foremost, generally a farmer. It's what he loves to do. He loves to just get his items, get his gold, and make things happen down the stretch. But, you know, one-position Mirana tends to be feast or famine. Either it goes really well or really poorly. Funnick, thought we were going to see a disruption, but nope, never mind. Fluff had already spent it. That's why we didn't see it. But yeah, I mean, this one-position Mirana, they need a lot out of him, and they need to get it out of him, and sooner rather than later. You're talking a 20 to 30-minute window that we're going to look to see Havos execute through instead of a 40 to 50-minute window.
Yeah, they keep on going for this. Look at this. They keep on trying to go for the block off on Funnick.
Up, trying to get it. They might. One more auto attack. That's first blood. Now, that is actually pretty disastrous. Giving that up to just a duo lane, only 2 heroes needed to bring down a Bristleback at this level. TC now level 3, but more importantly, that early kill going the Team Liquid, the bonus gold from the first blood, but Funnick being off the map and losing out in that situation. Bristleback is a hero who needs to always be even at least, and when he gets behind even a little, you do start to feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's supposed to be this big tanky hero that is very, very tough to kill, but when you start falling behind, not only giving away extra firepower to Liquid, but being fairly squishy on your own right, you just never snowball. You never snowball, and that's a big thing about Bristleback.
Dindy and Bulba going toe-to-toe here in mid in the meantime. And we can see roughly even on both sides. A little bit of a lead for Bulba, 14 CS to Dindy's 10. But yeah, I mean, Dindy's mag again, seen him play phenomenal, seen him play really sketchy at times. It just depends on where he is with the hero right now, and especially just the nerfs the hero received over consecutive patches going back quite some time ago until recently now. I mean, he got kind of a silent buff with the Blink Dagger buff, I guess. But for the most part, he just has become a hero that you either play him frequently and you're good at him, hold on at top. Way too there to follow up the disruption. Got the shackles on. And the damage might be there. They're going to be real careful. And Wei2, yep, good juggling of the tower shots. Wei2 makes it away with 130 HP. Funnick down twice already. This is why I'm not the biggest fan of a one-position Mirana. She's taking a lot of the farm. Funnick's been put in a bit of an awkward situation. The rotation was slow in coming. Well, honestly, hasn't come at all from Na'Vi. So prioritizing Havos, this now means your Bristle was way behind, and Mirana has such a long way to go before she can really put that farm to any big use. I mean, yes, she can use her Sacred Arrow. Yes, she'll tank up. Yes, she'll be a little bit better. But generally speaking, Mirana's going to give you what she's going to give you in the first 15 no matter what. Another long-range shackle. Funnick caught with the Soul Catcher. There's a disruption, trying to juggle the tower shots and doing a good job. Can they get him again? Lucent Beams there. Shadow Poison up to 2 ticks won't be enough. And Puppy's there finally to come and help him out. This has just been an absolute murder field for Funnick, who has been under constant fire for the last few minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't even a solid initiation. I mean, the fact that they didn't lead with disruption, had to throw down the shackle, then they were under the tower for so long so they couldn't stay and just beat on Funnick. That was a bad initiation, and they still almost killed him. If that last Shadow Poison had hit him, maybe it would have killed him. Actually, it was only level 1, so a little doubtful. But it would have been a little bit close at the very least. But now, apparently, Liquid feeling comfortable rotating in. They're going to put Luna in this bottom lane up against the Mirana, which is a little dangerous. I mean, I like what they were doing before, which was Koifa was just jungling. They stayed away from this tri-lane as much as possible, but now TC may get caught out.
Sacred Arrow on the mark. Yeah, I'm with you. Why? If it ain't broke, why fix it? This doesn't make a lot of sense to me in a lot of ways. I mean, they anticipated the rotation. Now, Koifa way out in front, gets caught with a Grave Chill. He's back under his own tower. No Sacred Arrow. That's probably another kill, but they might get a return on Kuroki. One last auto attack. Not enough. Here comes Wei2 out of the jungle, though, and Fluff helping to run Mirana out. So Koifa manages to survive just by the skin of his teeth. But yeah, I think they anticipated a bigger reaction at the top. I think they expected KKY to go up there with Puppy and tried to get a little too aggressive at bottom. Nonetheless, Na'Vi makes their way onto the board, but they end up giving 1 for 1, make it 3-1 as we come up on 6 minutes now.
Yeah, the theory was right. The theory was basically that Bristleback was getting to the point where he's actually effective in a tri-lane, and that with 2 supports joining in, it was going to actually be pretty dangerous. So they rotate Luna down, but the moment you still see that Visage in lane, you have to just hide yourself until your other 2 supports come in. I'm not opposed to the defensive tri-lane rotating in like this, but the execution of it was rather questionable, and we saw with TC going down exactly what happened. Now just a little bit of the small disruption going down from Fluff. But other than that, not a really whole lot going well for Na'Vi except for that one pickoff on TC. Everything else should be going the way of Liquid. Even their middle matchup, Bulba versus the Magnus of Dendi, is going to be a fairly even trade out where Spirit plus auto attacks. Well, maybe an auto attack might be able to secure it.
Bulba skewered back following the Sacred Arrow. That's a big-time kill for them. And believe it or not, even before that happened, Na'Vi continued to lead in gold and experience. So even though to the naked eye, it would seem like, oh, okay, Bristle died a couple of times, so on and so forth, it really hasn't hampered them that much. Again, this stage of the game isn't really what worries me a lot for Na'Vi. It's how they're going to transition from 15 minutes to 25 minutes. That's really where I feel like they're going to win or lose this game for the most part. TC will have his treads up soon. His item build is of particular interest to me as well. Is he going to go pure greed? Is he going to go kind of greedy? Is he going to go straight up BKB after treads to make sure he can fight? We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, though, Na'Vi doing work on the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, any kind of lineup that really focuses heavily on the mid game is oftentimes exposed for either its strength or its greatest weakness in the laning phase. And when I feel that you focus so much on the mid game and yet you don't win the laning phase hard, like Na'Vi is ahead right now, but I don't feel that they're really doing enough. Like the fact that Bristleback was so heavily shut down, it delays him coming into the game. TC is still farming fine. Elder Titan's still farming fine. And they had Furion dodging by just being able to go into the jungle. He's going to be pretty good as well. They may be falling behind in CS because of this, but I don't think that Na'Vi are winning hard enough to be able to really make their mid-game stick as it stands right now. That pickoff on Elder Titan, though, the 2 pickoffs, Elder Titan and TC, those were both equally huge when it comes to talking about the laning phase. But without those, I think Liquid would be looking extremely strong right now.
We could see Liquid recognizing the Moonlight Shadow had been popped. They saw it out of mid. It was Dendi, I'm almost positive, was standing on top of creeps, CSing whenever it was popped. So quick reactions, and watching the map, they realized immediately what had happened, pulled back under their own tower, and they end up walking away with nothing to show for it. Here comes Fluff joining up with Koikva and TC now. They may try to push this bottom tower. Lucent Beam does catch the Mirana. Disruption under his own tower. Shadow Poison, just a little bit of extra damage, trying to zone Havost off of things. Up at top, Funnick just continuing to farm away. Sitting about middle of the pack in terms of CS. Let's see if they're going to contend this bottom tier 1. They do have a glyph if they want to spin it. Visage is 6, does have the birds up in the air and looking for targets, but yeah, looks like so far no major reactions from Na'Vi. Way too not quite 6 yet. If he was, I'm sure they'd be pushing much harder.
Yeah, this is the problem. If you don't make your mid-game stick, I mean, it's kind of showing right now, but not in its true form of when we get into the game, the 15 to 20 minutes, when you have wards going down, when you have that maxed out aura coming out from Luna, whether she chooses to max it out early or not, we'll have to see. But either way, this team takes towers, and they take it quickly. And any sort of mistake by Na'Vi or not having the strong enough laning phase to be able to make all the team fights work for them, they lose one team fight, they lose a tower, maybe even 2.
Na'Vi reacts in force now, and wisely Liquid pulls back. They do get the deny, and Bulba now in mid, left to soak up levels and a bit of gold, doing a little bit of damage to the tier 1. Now, Dendi is really the hero to watch for Na'Vi, especially over the next 10 to 15 minutes. He's very close to his Blink Dagger, only needs another 250 gold. His play in particular going to matter so much. There's a Grave Chill on the TC. Sacred Arrow actually misses, but it catches Fluff behind the fact. And they're going to be able to turn that around. Good disruption from Fluff, disjointed things sufficiently that they didn't even decide to engage on him afterwards. Fearing the Eclipse, most likely, but so far, we remain at the status quo, make it 3-2. Liquid maintains a short kill lead. The gold lead that Na'Vi had built, it was up towards 2,000, now heading slightly back in favor of Team Liquid.
I don't think Funnick has missed a CS since Heroes left his lane. like seriously, he is sitting at 2nd in CS board right now, even though he died several times in lane. He was heavily shut down, and he has a Vanguard by 10 minutes. Like, that's amazing. The fact that he has a Vanguard after the first 5 minutes of the lane were a complete wash for him. So this is really, really impressive play by Funnick, being able to come back into the game and looking pretty much like the off-lane Bristleback that we expect. Like, this is having a Vanguard before 20 minutes, before 15 minutes, is very, very important for allowing us Bristleback to be able to push heavily enough, be able to have the lane presence, to not fear any sort of attempt at ganks because he's so tanky, but also be able to provide a lot more in team fights because of it. This is how Bristleback snowballs. So even though he was shut down early and I was expected that to really affect him, he's come back beautifully just by pretty much not missing a single CS in this what is a free farm lane.
Yeah, and his level's actually on par with the highest on the board. Only Dindy is higher than he is in levels. And, levels, so far as items, obviously a Vanguard's nice. Anything you get to tank him up is going to be awesome for him. But so long as you have levels, you can usually feel pretty effective in the early game phases. But with Funnick now, like you said, really just going to town in terms of gold gain since his lane emptied out and managing to stay on par with levels. Navi's looking pretty all right. The net worth showing, yeah, he's actually moved ahead now of the two highest farmers on the side of Liquid, being TC and Bulba. So Na'Vi really pulling it together much past the 10-minute mark. Well played.
Yeah, you can't really say the same about TC. Like, oh, we're actually at top.
Yep, Fluff caught up, disrupts himself. Here comes the rest of Liquid trying to follow this up. Dindy's there, looking for an RP, not going to find it. They pop Moonlight Shadow. And Fluff will end up dying to a... No, he's actually alive for the moment. Now finally cleaned up with Quill Spray. Behind that, though, Waytu in some trouble and uses Hex once again. This is going to be a 3-for-2 exchange as Na'Vi takes a big win up in this top lane. They're going to be able to push off of that as well. And it cost them relatively nothing. Didn't even have to spend RP, just basically ran in circles and chased down squishy supports. Yeah,
Liquid making small errors that are really, really hurting them. Them trying to go for that gank looked good for Liquid at first, but the Vanguard from Bristleback pretty much makes him unkillable at this point in time. It also goes back to those small pickoffs, like Bulba taking an arrow to the face, TC overextending himself in the lane. Like, those small things don't happen. Maybe Na'Vi don't have an easy time like this finding kills and being able to make trades. Fluff's gonna, well, actually, he has no follow-up whatsoever. He doesn't even have...
Yep.
I thought he was going to throw down the Purge, and we were going to see maybe Shadow Shaman coming in time, but he doesn't even have that Purge. So now they might be in trouble, though.
Yep, exactly. And this is what I was going to say. Waytu's dead for sure. And the wards go down. They may end up killing off Funnick with the Eclipse. It cost him a lot to do it. Fluff's still in a little bit of trouble, but the bird finally does drop. And Bulba trying to chase down KKY as he chases Quakefuss. So a little bit of silly play, really, of Na'Vi. They had no business hanging around that long. That was a pure out-and-out win if they had just fallen back and got a little bit greedy. But yeah, that when Fluff landed in there with that disruption, it kind of reminded me of Puppy going, all right, guys, black hole blink into the Broche pit, like we saw in Game 2, and it's like, oh, nobody's here.
Yeah.
But either way, we're all knotted up in the kill board, 6-6, but the gold remains in favor of Na'Vi, as does the experience.
Yep, right now they're just pretty much farming much more efficiently than Liquid. And I think we've seen that pretty much every single game, that Na'Vi take the early laning phase, even if Liquid have an advantage in some sort of lane situation or some sort of specific 1v1 matchup or something like that. Na'Vi are always able to manipulate the lanes well enough and then use what they have to be able to maximize their farm. Like, Funnick is just the perfect example of that. Now has FaZe, a cloak, and a Vanguard. Means he doesn't have to worry about TC and his ultimate anymore, because all he has to do is turn his back, and then Cloak will also help. And Dire Courier going down. Looks like Quaifa was able to snag that one.
Well played again from Quakefa, who has really been... I mean, and this is, since he joined Liquid, he's just been such a huge part of what they do. And every match you watch, it's rare to see him play and not say he was a big factor. He just always is. But take a look at TC's item build. He went Treads, Aqualay, and now straight up to a BKB. Absolutely no greed item whatsoever. No Midas, no Helm of the Dominator, no nothing. Not even a Yasha before BKB, which very often it can be seen as a greed item because it helps you with split push. But we're going to see Moonlight Shadow popped. And there is a Sentry Ward down from Liquid. Waytu, the one furthest out right now, will be able to scurry to safety as the rest of Liquid responds. But, okay, no, he's actually going to transition. He went Ogre Club just to tank up. Now he's going to be on his way to a Helm of the Dom. In the meantime, Hex on the Funnick. Can they catch him? Miss with the Ward Trap. There's an RP to disjoint it, and two blown to pieces immediately. That was a missed ward trap from Way2. And unfortunately, they might get Funnick nonetheless. Bulba's right behind him and doesn't have a spirit to throw out. Does manage to bring down the bird. But just heard a Sacred Arrow. There it is. Going to shoot a bit wide. But yeah, first RP of the game shot. Dindy caught two and blew him to pieces.
Yeah, I like Havos coming in just like, oh, wards are down, huh? I'll go ahead and clean up that extra bit of gold. No problem.
It's all good. No worries.
But yeah, right now, just another mistake, I would say, from Liquid. The fact that Moonlight Shadow went down, and you know something's coming after that. Well, it's not going to be Bristleback running forward and getting a good position with his invis. It's going to be Dendy. Like, there is no other hero who's really going to utilize Moonlight Shadow as well as Dendy will, being able to put himself in a good enough position to find that blink RP and get that big stun. So the fact that they tried to come back out after the Moonlight Shadow was popped, Moonlight Shadow popping tells you Dendy's there. Dendy's there, and he's going for you. You should not be trying to go out. And they did, and they immediately just get bit. That was the first time that Dendy really showed his power, and he's coming in again. Even without an RP, the invis positioning might just give him a really, really good skewer, or at least put him close enough to blink skewer.
Just about 25 seconds left on reverse polarity, and they may be able to wait this out. Liquid seems kind of tunnel visioned on this top tier 1, and it could end up costing them if they just hang around for exactly every reason you just so eloquently explained. Is, you know, you have to expect these things are coming. Invis rune on the mag, and Na'Vi for the moment holding serve at the very least. 14 seconds on Moonlight Shadow now. They're going to have a chance to do this the exact same way by the time all is said and done. Dindy has RP up. Moonlight Shadow is now up. 2 seconds off. This could be horrendous. Oh, this could get ugly so fast. Dindy in position, hiding in the trees. There's a disruption. Under the tower, that's Funnick. There's Moonlight Shadow popped. AA ultimate shot. They're spreading out wisely in anticipation of Dindy, and we see the RP up to the top. They managed to get Way2 and no one else. Now here comes the Eclipse. TC trying to clean up and do work, but no targets for the Eclipse. Shadow Shaman's wards doing the work they're supposed to do. And Funnick a little too low to really be coming forward. However, with the Glyph, they may be able to save it or at least deny it. TC and Bulba continuing to try to zone them out. And Puppy popping Chilling Touch for the extra little bit of bonus damage. And nope, Prophet got it. There's a disruption in the meantime on the Puppy. Puppy comes out and dead to rights. Never had a chance. Cold Feet will proc on TC, but the arrow shot just south of him. So a bit of an extended siege here from Liquid, but it ends up working out after all.
Yeah, that was a little bit surprising. They set themselves up really well for counter wards for the Moonlight Shadow, but then they committed. Like, I think they were hoping that they would bait out Na'Vi, trying to get this sneaky, oh, we're going to Moonlight Shadow again, and try and catch them, and Liquid would get them by surprise because they had such good coverage all throughout this area where Moonlight Shadow would be effective, and it was really, really good. It's just Na'Vi never took the bait, so Liquid had to get aggressive there, and they traded a lot away for that Tier 1 tower. Not only did they throw a support down and that died, and they didn't get anything in exchange immediately. They got Puppy later on, but really, at first, they didn't get anything for it, but they barely got a Tier 1 tower in exchange for wards.
Demonic Purge on the Funnick at top. He's going to try to do damage before he drops. They've got a whole gaggle of folks there. Here come the Visage Familiars to try to help, but they do bring him down. Bulba even spent the Earth Splitter just to be safe. AA Ultimate is there, but yeah, Way2 should be just fine. So, bit of a reaction from Na'Vi, but it's a little late in the coming. They end up losing Funnick. In the meantime, Puppy and Marana. Havost, I should say, continuing to just farm away. He has gone with a Diffusal build. Straight up treads Diffusal. Not even a BKB to be had in there.
Yeah, and right now you can see their Na'Vi, that gold lead is dipping back down a little bit as the pushing power comes into play from Liquid. They take a tower, and now they're only a little just shy of 3,000 gold ahead and about 5,000 experience ahead. So Na'Vi still controlling this game well, but we do have a little bit of stacking that's going on in the Ancients that TC is going to be able to farm up. He's still working on his BKB. Honestly, while BKB is down, I think Na'Vi should continue to try and get aggressive and fight Liquid every turn.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. There's another Demonic Purge we're going to hear. It's going to be Kuroki this time. Fluff, though, going to end up trading 1-for-1, a double KO. There in the dire side jungle, and the rest of Liquid wisely going to vacate the premises. And yeah, I mean, so far, Liquid's getting some things done. Dindy's got a double damage and spins the RP on TC. Big pick off here if they can secure it. Skewers him back, and that'll be that. That is huge. And we're actually going to see BKB popped by Dindy. They're going to get a return kill on the Ancient Apparition. At least Bulba's hitting very hard right now. We haven't talked a whole lot about him, but he already has up Drums, Phase, and an Ogre Club. Mirana, in the meantime, going to work on Quakefa. Starstorm's there for extra damage. Do they have it? Good stomp, and that's going to be a big return kill for Liquid. Now Funnick there trying to track down Bulba. Bulba moving forward, bailed out by Fluff. Fluff hits the disruption. There's an Earth Splitter and the Demonic Purge. Funnick drawn back into it, but no follow-up as they fear what's coming out of the shadows on the other side. Although only Visage was up, they probably could have taken a chance there, but instead deciding to play even. In the end, it's a 2-for-2 trade. They lose Mirana and Mag in exchange for the Luna and the Nature's Prophet, roughly a break-even affair. Yeah,
I think that was the smarter play there from Bulba. Much more, well, maybe we're going to see more Funnick. They shouldn't be able to go on this.
Yeah,
Funnick is too big at this point in time. With Vanguard and Hood of Defiance, chasing a Bristleback is pretty much the worst thing you could do. You know, even just the Visage sitting in behind or the Ice Blast coming in from the AA could have easily wrecked them. They came ahead in that team fight. Sure, they lost the Luna, but they gained a lot for it. They killed Dendi. They killed the Mirana. You know, a lot of good things happened there. That was a 3-for-4 trade, I believe, for them. So why not just walk away from the team fight and be happy about what you were able to get, because they do have late game with the Luna. The later this game goes, at least until the BKB is up, they should be trying to just extend this game a little bit longer.
And in the meantime, we're going to see Havos picked off once again. And Funnick has quills quite literally spraying as we speak, and that will be the death of Fluff for sure, as I'm pretty sure he's in range of those. And yeah, he should be. But anyway, taking a look at the gold graph, we can see Liquid is not only holding things together, they're actually making up ground. Very reminiscent of the way Game 1 felt, where Na'Vi seized it was a much more commanding lead by the time all was said and done, but still just gradually built themselves a lead, and Liquid gradually turned it around. And they've managed to likewise stop the bleeding and reverse the wound here in Game 3 as well. What a hell of a series this has been.
Yeah, this has to be like one of those top, I mean, for 2014 at least, this has got to be one of the top 5 series that we're going to see. And we're only into February so far, but this is just absolutely one of the most entertaining series that I've ever had the pleasure to be able to cast, let alone just watch. So it's been a lot of fun, but no, Liquid are doing, I like the way they're playing. They're playing this kind of scrappy, right? They're moving around. They're getting these small pickoffs. They're trading hit for hit. And all the meanwhile, they're just kind of extending the game, which is, like, Na'Vi's lineup is supposed to be really, really strong right now. They're really coming into their own with all their mid-game firepower, with the Mirana finally getting into some sort of carry role. Funnick looking very, very good. Then you've got the 2 supports that are pretty burst-heavy in the Ice Blast and the Visage Nuke. You know, that's a lot of heavy damage coming out. Liquid are not shying away from that. In fact, a lot of times they're the ones grouping up 5-manning and putting the pressure, and a lot of this goes right back to the Elder Titan. Bulba's Elder Titan is many people underestimate the power of an Elder Titan being able to pick up all that extra damage with his spirit. All he needs, movement speed in the phase boots and drums, so that way when you do bring the spirit back, you're practically sitting at max movement speed and you're able to just constantly run after heroes and beat them down. But also a BKB. Once he has that BKB up, they will continue to fight. Liquid are not backing down. They're not just going, okay, Na'Vi, you control the game right now, we'll push later. They're actually doing a lot of really good trading. Even if it isn't altogether in their favor, they're still getting the towers. They're still getting that basic amount of gold that will go into the BKB instead of just sitting back trying to farm and let Na'Vi get all the pickoffs they need.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, Liquid has already shown just in this series alone that they know how to manage this kind of a situation. They know how to manage a map and to just eke their way back in. And yeah, this is still anyone's game to win or to lose, really. I mean, Mirana, as much as I knocked on her during the draft, I mean, she's not terrible as a hard carry. It's just the way she tends to play out from that position is just so hit and miss. And, you know, it's not like even a Luna, for just to use a counterpoint, where you go, well, if she gets a certain number of CS, doesn't die a whole lot, and manages to get up items X, Y, and Z, she's going to be a force to reckon with. Mirana, so often, even the way she builds is so dependent on what she's up against, and it just takes her so long and so much to really get to that full carry status. And I feel like that is the big liability that Navi's facing right now. I mean, as good as Bristleback is, and he's going to continue to be excellent, especially against the Luna because of the Quill Spray going through BKB, which is usually the big survival mechanism a Luna relies upon until she manages to get a Satanic in the very late game. As good as he is, though, I mean, when you're talking about a Nature's Prophet and a Luna coming down the stretch with the bonuses an Elder Titan will confer, given the fact Bulba has been off to a pretty damn good start again here in this game. In fact, take a look at the net worth. We could see he's right on par with Havost, even though Havost is, again, in the 1 position. He'll be able to pick up a quick Scythe, a Shivas, etc. I really just like Liquid's lineup a lot better once you get to 40 minutes and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. I really agree. Pretty much Mirana is, I've kind of described her as sort of this jack of all trades, but master of none. When it comes to the semi-carry and carry position, she's not actually that strong. She can't really hard carry as many other heroes can. She's very, very excellent in the mid-game, but you're right. Basically her biggest strength is her versatility and the fact that her build is able to fluctuate based on what you're up against. So whether you run a defensive tri-lane, run a hard carry Mirana that is trying to farm up, like Lincoln's Desolator, like that kind of build that is just sort of enough defensive that you're able to push out and constantly split push, and then you just go until you have Manta and Desolator, and then you finally are that heavy-hitting carry. Or you can go for a much more offensive, run an aggressive tri-lane, try and shut down heroes, and then rely on some other semi-carry to back you up. Now that's where Bristleback really comes into play, is that having a 1 Mirana, you're right, it's not very good, and it's why you rely, oftentimes Mirana is described more as a semi-carry than a hard carry in her own right, because she relies on other heroes to be able to pick up. So if you pick up a carry Mirana, you either have to end the game early, or you have to have a mid or off lane hero who's going to be able to accentuate the damage that you already output with added, whether it's minus armor or burst or extra physical damage. Heroes like Templar Assassin, Bristleback, those kind of heroes who are able to output their own physical damage of their own kind, really help out a Mirana, help her being able to shoulder that carry role a lot better. And then you include a big playmaking hero like Magnus. You know, I think this is a strong lineup, but you're absolutely right. Na'Vi do need to start controlling the map better, and they need to be able to end this game before 40 minutes. It's not that they can't contest Liquid going after the 40-minute mark, because they do have, again, we focus on the carries, and that's important, but the late game potential is also coming from the supporting cast, and one of the biggest ones is Ancient Apparition, and you could see how the combo of Magnus hitting an RP mixed in with a good Ice Blast, he doesn't even have to be a big one, it could be very, very small because of that tight circle, can easily do enough damage, and then just the measly follow-up of physical damage coming out from the Mirana and the Bristleback will be enough to clear through the heroes of Liquid. It's just going to be very, very tough after the 40-minute mark, like you said.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to lockdown, too. Liquid just has so much more of it. And, you know, Bristleback and Mirana, Bristle survives on the fact that, okay, he can just run around, run in circles, you know, warpath stacks, what have you. But when he's stationary, when he's shackled, when he's hexed, whenever he's purged, etc., it doesn't really work that way. And same thing with Mirana. Mirana relies on her innate skill set, Moonlight, Shadow, and Leap, to keep her alive. And whenever you have so many ways to account for her, it's problematic. And that's kind of the issue Navi's going to run into is, let's say they engage a team fight, you lose your Mirana and Bristle gets injured or vice versa and has to play towards the back of the fight. You hit a 5-man reverse polarity, best of your life. Then you hit an AA ultimate. Excellent. Then where's the damage if you lose one of those 2 heroes and the other one is hurting and is susceptible to being bursted or hexed? So we'll see how they end up playing it out. Looks like there's some kind of a lag issue. That's kind of all the report we've got. Way2 said he just yelled lag and DC'd. So hopefully we'll have Bulba back on shortly. But just to reiterate, if you just joined the broadcast, make sure you head to d2cl.org. Pretty damn big news over there regarding new stretch goals, I guess is what you can call them, to take a page from Kickstarter's book. All of the ticket sales and support for the league has been phenomenal so far, and I'm not going to run through them as Capitalist has already done that. You can certainly go read for yourselves, but pretty big deal. The biggest one of which worth mentioning, though, is the option to select a site for LAN finals for next season of D2CL if we're able to eclipse 50,000 tickets sold. So if you already own a ticket, maybe you'll consider picking up a second one just to try and get us that much closer to that goal, or if you haven't picked up a ticket yet, we'd love for you guys to give that a thought, not just for the great content and the awesome Pudge set that comes with it, but as well for the okay, go ready. He's not back, but but not just for the Pudge set, not just for the awesome content, but also just to help grow yet another outstanding tournament that I'm so privileged to be a part of.
All right, sounds like Bulba is getting back into the game now as he's just opened up Dota. But yeah, also don't forget, guys, we are going to be doing another Dota 2 Lounge giveaway after this game. Both Ayesee and I are going to be giving it away at our Twitters. So you can follow Ayesee at Ayeseee, Ayesee, just his name spelled out. And you can follow me over at Dota Capitalist. Both of us are going to be giving away another 10 rares. All you have to do is put in the code that we put out into Dota2Lounge.com/giveaways, and you get your chance. If you're the first one to be able to put in that code, you get 10 free rares. So pretty simple, pretty easy. And now Bulba's coming back. We'll have to see. Fluff is definitely dead. Way2, on the other hand, does have a teleport scroll, and there is no immediate disable on the front. We have Visage Birds coming in. If he teleports right away, he might be good, but Dendy's also coming.
Fluff gone, Way2 back to safety, and Dindy got there just a little late to the party, but 13-13, and this remains a tight one. 2,000 gold, all that separates these two teams. The 22 minutes of play behind us, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I do feel like this game, one way or the other, is going. And Kuro says, "Yeah, really good reactions, bro." GG pause, but I feel like one way or the other, the bulk of this game is going to be decided over the next 10 minutes, possibly over the next 5.
Yep, this Ancient Apparition, he's level 9, so he's getting towards that level 2 ultimate here pretty soon, especially with the lower experience from 10 to 11, but also the fact that he's absolutely going to have that point booster in time, and that AA ult, it's one of the biggest upgrades in the game. When it comes to Aghanims, Ice Blast ranks there as top-notch, because that extra bit of time for, what's it called, Shattering when they go below a certain percentage of health, that added time to that is huge in team fights. So they get Roche, they're about to get that as well. They're looking very, very good. Liquid, though, are trying to pick up some gold of their own. They may just snag tier 2 here.
Yep, wards are down from Way2, and really no reason for Na'Vi to contest this, I don't think. They would have to, at this point, they can honestly just counter push. And Na'Vi's feeling very brave right now. They are, like, so many of these fights are just going to be determined by Dindy. Will he hit an RP? How many will he get? Does he get 2? Good. Does he get 3? That's probably a 1 fight every single time with the lineup they have. If he's able to execute and able to do his job, they're going to be in great shape. Liquid, on the other hand, has an excellent team in punishing that. And as we've, during that pause, ruminated on at quite a bit of length, we both believe in Liquid's superiority in the late game. So Na'Vi wanting to continue to keep the pressure up now and not let it reach that point. Dindy up front, and we're going to see another arrow dodged by Fluff, just sidestepped it a bit. And Liquid able to hold things together while taking the tier 2. Never good to give up an Aegis, but if you're going to give it up, may as well get something out of it. And so long as you're able to force them back and force them to play a little defensive, even just for a minute so you can catch your breath, that's usually considered a win too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're farming up the jungle. They did a little damage to the tier 3. Even if this tier 2 does go down, it's going to eventually. They're buying themselves time. They're letting this game extend. Even if you look at the gold graph and you go, oh, Na'Vi's getting more and more gold. Yeah, sure, they're getting more gold than Liquid is out of the map right now, but Liquid might be able to actually utilize that lesser amount of gold they're getting in a better situation. That's what Luna's really good at. She farms well, but if she gets a certain amount of gold, she's going to utilize it very, very well because of the bouncing glaives or her. Anytime you increase her survivability, Eclipse gets a little bit better because you're guaranteed to get that full duration off. Yada, yada, yada. It's just so many different things that Luna is so strong at, being able to go into the late game. So right now, Liquid are doing this right. They're dodging team fights. They're farming up where they can. They're putting pressure when Na'Vi are taking objectives. So is Liquid. So everything that's going right now for Liquid is just all centered around them being passive and them farming up. As long as Na'Vi never finds that initiation, they're going to find themselves taking a tier 2, taking, all the tier 2s are still up for Liquid, but once they clear through all those tier 2s and they start going uphill, that's when they know, oh no, it's 40 minutes in, it's too late. TC's looking really, really good. And how do we push uphill against an Elder Titan and a Luna who's very, very farmed with a Furion constantly split pushing us?
Yep. And speaking of Furion, he's actually picked himself up an Orchid Malevolence, and I really, really like this pickup on him, and it tells you a lot about what they view as their threats. Hold that thought, as Kuro is probably just flat out dead. Do they have a disruption? Nope, got the stun off and the disruption, so a little overkill, but you know what? Securing a kill, no such thing as overkill at this stage of the game. Aegis is halfway done with its time, and we've seen Na'Vi get nothing out of it but a little bit of farm, which we both agree suits Liquid just fine. But with that Orchid pickup instead of the Scythe of Ice, that tells you, I mean, they're just really worried about bringing down the Bristleback. Yes, the silence is there, but you can use that on any number of heroes, but more importantly, just being able to guarantee that you're going to get the bonus damage that comes out of that to bring down some of these tankier heroes really matters a ton to their overall game plan. Funnick trying to bum rush Ball, but he's actually going to be stomped out. There's an Earth Splitter as well. That's going to slow him down, and he's Orchided. This is exactly what I was talking about. And in the meantime, Mirana did manage to clean up Fluff and TC elsewhere, but being able to bring down the Bristleback at top, a pretty nice return kill for Liquid at the same time.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. They had to commit a lot to getting that Bristleback, and they still almost didn't get him. But yeah, we're just so focused on being able to cover that one. Well, actually, Koifa picks off the Ancient Apparition as well. That's the danger of the Shadow Blade Orchid. Really easy to pick off those supports. But yeah, I think Na'Vi got the better of that trade. The Ancient Apparition going down is pretty bad, but shutting down the Luna is so good for Liquid that even if it was 2 for 2, it's good for Na'Vi. So shutting down that Luna, and also being able to have enough map control to possibly take this tier 2 as well, as we're only just now getting those teleports in.
Shadow Shaman dropped his wards and waits to be able to bring down the tier 1. Reaction down at bottom. Tier 2 standing just outside of deny range for now, so Na'Vi should be able to come back and get that at their leisure, really. Roche is going to be back up. Well, we'll know how long Roche is going to be back up here in a few minutes at the very least. But at this point, we're 28 minutes on the money, and it's 16-15, and that gold graph continues to head north. We're getting very close to the 0 line now, and Liquid has got to be feeling happy about their chances as we get closer and closer to 30 minutes and inevitably closer to the late game.
Yeah, and with the Aegis about to be reclaimed, Dendy's looking for a pickoff right now with his Invis rune. He wants to be able to find something, and they've got a really good aggressive ward right now to be able to see some of the movement of these heroes. But for right now, Liquid are doing a really good job keeping their spacing and farming up. Well, TC.
Yep, skewered back following the RP, and pops a BKB. Now in the middle of the fight, they managed to take the Aegis for free. It was just about to expire anyway. Liquid in a great position, though, and we're going to see Mirana trying to go toe-to-toe, way too hit with the Diffusal. They want to bring him down, but no. Shockwave not enough. There's the Eclipse on the back of it. Dindy and company have to clear out as Bulba is leading the charge. Leading with the chin, and should be able to track down Dindy. No, actually. Runs out of steam and overextends himself badly. Behind the fight, though, Liquid coming through that big choke point. Eats a lot of damage. It's 2 for 1 so far. They did get the Aegis, now 2 for 2. They killed TC again. They should be able to get Fluff here, and they will. Liquid, way greedy and really against this team. Koifa's there to clean things up, though, and he's going to get a double kill out of it. Funnick's now on his tail, though. He's got an Orchid, but no, sprouts himself in and ends up cleaned up. So that's going to be a 4 for 4 exchange. And really, though, Liquid, they kind of asked for that. Chasing all the way through, but more importantly, bottlenecking right here. Trying to chase them through their side of the jungle and just getting a little hung up on each other. 20-19, and as the dust settles, even though Liquid briefly led the game for the first time in 30 minutes, barely in favor of Na'Vi, so still anyone's game to win or to lose.
Yeah, that team fight was very, very close. I mean, Furion coming in at the end, him trading himself for 2 different kills, absolutely worth it. Even if Furion's farm is a little bit more important than Dendy's, it was still really good pickoffs for him, and he got some good, what's it called, reliable gold to be able to fall back on. So even when he did die to the Bristleback, it's not bad. Another thing is Liquid, 4 for 4. Yeah, they lost the Luna, and Bristleback's looking pretty damn big now, but they also just extended the game. Like, the game just drew out just a little bit longer after that team fight. So it definitely was a great team fight for Na'Vi. They came out a little bit on top, but that's sort of hurt by the fact that such a close fight does not spell well for Na'Vi. As we start getting 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in, it's going to get tougher and tougher. So this game being drawn out more and more and more is kind of hurting Na'Vi, and they're going to try and speed things up right now with a smoke. See if they can get a pick off, start finally taking these tier 2s, which are available to them. I wonder if Bulba notices this tier 2 tower is deniable, and that could definitely help. I mean, being able to limit that tower gold away from Na'Vi is really important right now.
And taking a look, yeah, I mean, right now, Na'Vi trying to find a target. They're being very methodical about it, though. They smoked quite some time ago. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and use Moonlight Shadow. And here comes TC. And he's got to know something's up. This is just a little bit of an odd situation. Bulba throws out the stomp. And not going to matter as they take a big stack away from TC. That's a pretty big coup in and of itself. Bulba able to dodge the arrow in the meantime. But, you know, that's one of the big advantages of the Luna, especially when you go the build he did. He went Morbid Mash straight up to Helm of the Dominator following the completion of his BKB. But whenever you're having your Ancients taken, and we can see Na'Vi's even got a ward down, that really hurts a lot. That slows down your item progression so much.
Yeah, right now, Furion is the other big factor. Like, they're doing a good job shutting down the Luna, but Furion's getting really, really big, and he's soon going to have that side device, meaning that Na'Vi can never split up at that point.
And Waitsu caught out, spins the Hex. We'll go ahead and drop his wards in the meantime. He gets the Shackles down onto Dindy. Here comes the Earth Splitter. It's going to be off the mark. Funnick in the meantime going to work on Quakefuck. TC's there trying to tee off on Funnick. Funnick's eating a lot of damage, and they do manage to bring him down. That's a very big kill for him, given he has died twice in the last 2 engagements. And the RP caught TC. Beautiful disruption from Fluff, though, to disjoint things. However, it doesn't matter. They skewer him back, but BKB is up on Bulba. TC's still going, doesn't have the clips, has to try and find a way out of the fight, and Bulba just going to town. In the meantime, Mirana and KKY drop TC for the 3rd time in just about as many minutes. And those deaths are beginning to pile up. That's the one thing you can't do on a Mirana. You can choose not to come to fight. You can choose instead to flash farm, to split push. But you cannot, simply should not, be dying as often as he is. Thankfully, he's got a team that's still standing and able to take a tier 2 as a reprisal.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate situation because Na'Vi, they didn't have the Ice Blast up. As Dendi went in, I'm not sure if he knew or not, but the Ice Blast was on cooldown for another 5 seconds. So that was a really good setup, and they would have maybe crushed that fight a little bit better if they had hit that Ice Blast on Elder Titan as well, not just the Luna. But as it is, he was brought back, skewered back, and by the time it was up, BKB was activated. And he's the other, like, he's actually providing as much, if not more, of team fight than Luna is right now. Koifa is the big other hero with his big Scythe of Ice pickup recently. So he's looking really, really good, but Na'Vi's still not having the firepower to convincingly win a team fight and turn this into objectives, and this is getting tough for them. They're losing team fights bit by bit. They're losing more and more ground. Now, they do have a couple of big pickups. Aghanims is going to be up on Visage. We do have an AC that's going to be purchased by Funnick, and that's going to be big for him. I'm not sure. Dendi did have that Shiva's a little while ago, I'm pretty sure, but that's still going to be a helpful pickup. And anything that Habos gets right now, well, Fluff's going to get caught.
Yep, Fluff caught out, and that's probably going to be a free Aegis. Shadow Demon, a very important hero in how they want to take these fights. And with anyone down, they're just, yeah, they really can't contest this all that well. And, yeah, they're not even going to try. They're going to try and keep an eye on it. And they see how low Roshan already is. Doing what damage they can. They try to disjoint it with the sleep, but, again, really doesn't matter as Mirana picks up the Aegis, leaves a gem behind that Funnick will happily snag, and that's a gigantic turnaround for Na'Vi, and Na'Vi has just capitalized. We can see, in the meantime, Liquid has managed to bring the goal back into their favor. The experience still in favor of Na'Vi, though, but having that Aegis, if they can just get a big win here, hang on, they're going to go for it. And Mirana jumping right up into it. Stomp's not going to be effective at all, and Waitsu drops the wards. They're going to be able to get his Aegis for free. How many times has Havos done that in the last 3 games? The wards went down, so it cost Liquid a bit too, and they're going to be able to clean it up for some free gold. But that's an Aegis basically spent for no particular good reason other than to bring down way too sexy.
Yeah, it's not a bad pickoff, but it's just not the edge that they really need in order to ensure they've got good team fights. Like something like an Elder Titan or Luna or Furion, those are the trades that you're willing to make for an Aegis. As it is, it might be a tough fight if Na'Vi choose to go for this tier 2, but it doesn't even look like they're going to go for it here. And you know, to give them a little bit more credit into their late game, Havos now being able to pick up an Eagle Song, like, you do have a decent amount of damage. It just all comes back down to their wombo combo of the RP mixed in with the Ancient Apparition Aghanims. That's the only reason that they could possibly take Liquid going 45, 50 minutes in, is just better execution with those two combos, and then all the damage that is able to follow up from there. But again, as always, when we're talking about late game, it's going to come down to whether or not the initiation is favorable.
Tier 2 mid drops, and Liquid still with 3 towers standing. They maintain a fairly decent tower lead over top of Na'Vi, at least for now. But Na'Vi going to retreat back to the jungle. All this time, though, Koikva has just been adding more and more gold to his pockets. He already has a Scythe of Ice, Orchid, and Shadow Blade up. See what he wants now. As it stands at the moment, he is the lockdown master. They just can't afford to lose him. And Koikva wisely decides it's time to find his way back to more familiar territory, heading back into the Radiant jungle.
Yeah, Koikva's doing a really good job. When they were taking Roshan, he put pressure on the tier 3. You look at it, it's below half health. You know, he's doing a good job finding space. Even though he doesn't have that pushing build for a Furion, he's got more of a combative pick-off build with Orchid and Scythe of Ice. If he had a Necronomicon, that tower would be dead right now. But despite the fact that he doesn't have a good pushing build, and this build I think is preferable for this specific game, he's still doing a really good job putting pressure on these tier 2s and tier 3s. And every single time I watch him, he maximizes his time where he can sit there, beat on the tower, but gets out just before Na'Vi could make rotations to shut him down. And it's why he only has 2 deaths so far, is because he's a master being able to figure that out. Dendi was hoping to find a pick off on TC by being able to skewer him down the cliff, but not going to find it. In fact, it's going to be top.
A little bit of wishful thinking up at top. We're going to see the pursue out, and it's going to be Mirana picked off again. He even spent a BKB charge there, and that was a little bizarre. Couple of odd mistakes to begin with. Big reactions caught out by Liquid, and wasting a pretty heavily. Let's see. Yeah, that was his 8-second BKB charge. So wasting some of those valuable seconds of Magic Community for basically just to die for free.
Yeah, and when Luna has a Manta, all of a sudden she becomes a much bigger threat. Now the Manta increases her survivability slightly. It's not going to be that big of help to the late game problem of the RP plus the Ice Blast, but maybe it'll buy him enough time. The big thing right now is that Luna will be able to farm very, very quickly and split push and keep up pressure on Na'Vi. And even when Na'Vi are going to be 5-manning down a lane or something like that, you're not only going to have to deal with the Furion now split pushing, but also the Manta illusions coming out from TC. This is going to win them some more map control, this pickup from TC.
And Liquid doing a good job of taking over the jungle of Na'Vi. This top tower, as you pointed out a couple of times, already whittled down to half health, and they're in a position where they could try to take a fight. Koikva is sufficiently far ahead now with 2,500 gold on top of that. I'm anxious to see if he's going to want to build a Desolator here. I feel like a Deso would be a nice pickup. It would help things out enormously in and of their own right, allow him to push a little more effectively, help the Luna out as well, or he could end up going pure crit, just deciding to pick up a Crystallis if he feels like it, although nope, it's going to be an MKB. So anticipating Mirana's butterfly build, seeing the Eagle Song already done, it's going to be coming out just in time for this butterfly to be finished on Havos. So, yeah, I actually would have figured it would have been Luna who would have picked up the MKB, but instead going to be going the way of the Nature's Prophet. And Koikva now takes on just even more importance. He's the main source of damage that can be reliable against Havos.
Yeah, this is why the combative build is so good on a Furion, specifically against Mirana. Mirana is, again, a carry. She's not a hard carry necessarily because she operates from a gold advantage. She's not a very good carry if she's behind or on even footing. So you compare that to the Furion, who's going a pure combative build, also a hero that is able to operate as a sort of semi-carry when you have a gold advantage. But how do you out Furion when it comes to getting that gold? Like, there's no way Mirana can keep up with that, especially with how well Koikva is playing right now. So he just instantly 1v1s anybody right now. Most importantly, the Mirana is the big pickoff.
We see Na'Vi taking down one of Liquid's towers at top, the top tier 1, as a matter of fact, one of the last remaining outer tier towers on either side at this point. Na'Vi only having 1, Liquid now down to just 2. And Liquid dropping the wards as well. So they're going to try to trade tier 2 for tier 2. That's a 2 for one exchange going the way of Na'Vi now. And Liquid has to pull back to defend. Now, they use the Serpent Wards to bring down the Tier 2. And if they decide to push here, they're not going to have it. Doesn't look like that's going to be the plan, though, at least not for the moment. Na'Vi, yeah, they are going to go ahead and withdraw.
Yeah, Liquid did something really smart there, even though you couldn't tell from the way Na'Vi were actually getting aggressive. Liquid did the smart thing in that they moved forward, they got the wards out, they got the illusion, and immediately backed out. They didn't care if the tower got denied. They didn't care if there was any sort of response from Na'Vi to be able to kill the wards or keep the tower alive or whatever. They just wanted to survive.
RP got Way2 and Bulba. A fake back from Na'Vi is successful, using Moonlight Shadow as their cover to sneak up and land a big RP. There's a buyback from Shadow Shaman. Bulba has it as well. And they're probably going to need him. And Way2 buying back. Doesn't have wards. There's the pipe pop. There's a disruption. Trying to just get some more illusions up and running, create more damage opportunities for Luna and her illusions, and try to stem the tide. Bulba's still down for quite some time. About 40 seconds, though, he's back up and running. Funnick, in the meantime, happy to tank that tower damage right in the kisser. And down goes the Tier 3. There's a Demonic Purge on the Funnick. AA Ultimate passes through, but no follow. And in the meantime, Mirana managing to pick off the Ancient Apparition elsewhere. And out behind that, we're going to have Dindy skewering back Fluff, and the Eclipse is up, but TC not doing as much damage as he would like. Koikfa in a lot of trouble as well. And he's going to be dying behind his own Tier 3. TC making a run for the well. Funnick diving all the way to the Tier 4s at the Ancient. Visage Familiar stuns are there, and TC drops. TC has buyback, and they may have to use it. And Funnick somehow able to survive. There's the buyback coming out immediately from Koikfa and the Shadow Demon. But the damage is done. The racks are gone. And this game solidly in control of Na'Vi now. Getting into the late game, just a few minutes past 40 minutes, we knew it was going to be key, and they managed to get the job done and take a pretty solid lead.
Yeah, now they're getting desperate. They need a pick off here, and anything small, even Kuro, is going to be worth it.
Visage Familiars buy some time. Don't think it's going to do much but delay the inevitable. But as you said, there's another RP fresh off cooldown. They move forward. They're going to bring down Fluff, and now Koikfa next on the list. They needed a pick off. What they ended up doing was feeding Fury on. He's now down for 105 seconds. And back at the base, yeah, everything quite stable, quite happy for Na'Vi, as they will, any day of the week, trade away Kuroki's Visage in exchange for Koikfa's Prophet, let alone adding in the Shadow Demon as well. Following that engagement, the gold lead now the biggest it's been all game for Na'Vi, or for anyone for that matter, now right up to about 5,000, but Liquid down, but not completely out. Again, they're getting into their wheelhouse now. The Manta done on TC. They just need a win, and they need it right now.
Yep, they're going to be able to clean up Roshan, take the Aegis, and then they've got this big advantage where the top lane is constantly pushing in. And Furion going to have to address that for the most part. Like, he's going to be having to do that split push instead of trying to threaten these towers. And top lane was a perfect lane for them to push into, because that Tier 3 tower was at half health. So that means they have some relief from that Furion constantly being at their base, constantly pushing in. Liquid, they just don't have quite enough damage up on Luna. She's got the Manta, and that's like the second stage of a Luna. Honestly, TC is very, very far behind in net worth right now, because it's supposed to go, you pick up your farming item, you pick up your BKB, and at that point you're like, okay, you're tanky enough to be able to be a part of team fights. You pick up Manta, another farming item, another split push item, add some okay damage to team fights, but it's not enough for late game. And we are solidly in the late game, and we still don't have that big like butterfly pickup for the Luna. So she's honestly not hitting that hard. We saw the illusions go down, the 5 or 4 different illusions going down from Disruption and Manta. It hardly cleaned up a single creep wave, and that's all because of Luna's lack of damage right now.
Yep, and Luna is so far behind in large part because of how many times she's died. 3 and 7 for TC. Funnick's going to pop the pipe, and they will make it away safely. But yeah, you know, it's kind of an old maxim. You know, in Dota, kills kind of matter, deaths matter a lot. And when you have your carry, as well farmed as he might be otherwise, dying 7 times in this game, it's just not going to work out for you. It's just not going to go your way. And granted, Havost has fed 4 and Funnick has fed 6. They needed more out of him. Now they're going to pop the BKB and go on Way2. BKB's up on both sides. Way2 drops down the wards. It doesn't matter. Now they might be able to get the Murata with the help of some Eclipse damage and the wards. Behind that, though, we see Funnick just going to town, forcing the Manta out of TC. Good Sprout and Disruption from Fluff to secure TC's escape. Behind that, though, we can see the Stomp locking 2 in place. That's Havost and Dindy. Rest of the fight playing out back near the Tier 4s as the Tier 3 and the racks here in mid are cleaned up. We saw Kuroki pick up that Desolator, and it's going to good use for sure. 2 racks down, that's probably going to be all she wrote. Liquid can extend this game if they want, and they're certainly going to try to, but it's going to be a bit of wishful thinking with 2 racks down to think against this lineup because they are pretty damn good at cracking Tier 3s with Moonlight Shadow as well as with Reverse Polarity. Yep, speaking of, they're going to go ahead and use it now.
Well, this is interesting. I mean, Liquid have one shot at being able to win a team fight here and maybe coming back. But it's going to be tough with Hibos already having the initiation.
Refreshers is up on Dindy. He has another RP ready to go, and he will spend it. That time he got Koikva. Shiva's up on both sides, and yeah. Koikva down. Luna's already bought back, but that's just too costly at this point. She's trailing in too many items. Funnick simply does not care, just shrugging off every piece of damage until basically just not giving a damn whatsoever. And Bulba chopped in the back by Dindy. And as the Megas come out, GG's called. 47 minutes, 55 minutes, 75 minutes. One of the longest series I've ever had the privilege to cast. One of the most exciting series I've ever had the privilege to cast. Na'Vi battles back after dropping game 1, wins 2 in a row, and takes the series here at the D2CL.
Yeah, this has just been such a fun series. You know, it was close, very, very close, maybe closer than it looked like in those last 5 minutes. Liquid just had a number of very, very crucial errors. Dendy finally found some good initiations that he was able to just pretty much instantly kill heroes with that RP Ice Blast combo. That was great. But really, it was Liquid's overextensions after that fact. They didn't need to chase in. They lost some heroes. They lost their buybacks. They lost so much in the last 5 minutes when they needed to be playing defensively. They needed to be using their Furion to be able to give them control. And Koifa was trying, too. He just, with his teammates dying like that, he has to be able to respond to Na'Vi going uphill. It should have been just a little bit more of a turtle game for Liquid. And they just... I mean, it really just comes down to Na'Vi doing a really good job constantly keeping down the Luna. You talked about the 6 or 7 deaths that was up on TC at that point in time. He just was never able to find the amount of farm he needed to. Even though we're 47 minutes in, we call that late game. Luna hasn't really hit the late game yet. She still needed that big damage shield item. Yeah. So really well done by Na'Vi, taking TC down several notches because of all those ganks.
Yep, I was going to say 411 GPM down the stretch, just nowhere near where he needs to be. I mean, that's less than Dindy's Magnus. And yeah, that gets inflated a little bit towards the end just because one team tends to run over. You know, you get bonus gold for buildings and such. But for the most part, I mean, his farm was good when you look at pure last hits. It wasn't the best. It was 242. It was less than Havost, but that happens whenever you fall behind there towards the end. Plus, I mean, Havost, just an excellent farmer in his own right. Funnick also had more than him. But really, like you said, just kind of one big item off is what it felt like. It felt like if she, for example, had finished up her Satanic, what might have been totally different. But more than anything, if TC just went through that stretch where for about 5 minutes he died 3 times in a 5-minute, 6-minute stretch or something like that. And really from that point on, he just never felt that threatening again.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Dota 2 Champions League. We do have more. Not only do we have a giveaway that we're going to be doing after this. First of all, we got 2 different codes to give away on our Twitters, at Dota Capitalist for me, at Ayesee for Mr. Aaron Chambers here. You're going to want to be able to do that because that is free 10 rares that you'll be able to collect over at Dota2Lounge.com/giveaway. So be sure to check that out. But also, this is not the last D2CL match of the night. We do have some more coming out, and I actually forgot what it was going to be coming up. I believe it was... let's see. I'm trying to find it right now to see what match we got coming up tomorrow. And I think it's an Alliance match. Yes, it's Alliance versus Fnatic. Yes. Oh, that's going to be fun.
It absolutely should be, and yeah, really looking forward to that. You know, taking a look at everything, looking forward for the D2CL. It's been an amazing tournament, an absolute pleasure to cast with you so far, my friend. And thanks again to you and Join Dota for the opportunity, certainly to the D2CL. And just a reminder, head to d2cl.org, guys. There's a lot of big news taking place over yonder in terms of a recent announcement regarding ticket sales and what you guys have made possible. So make sure you go take a look at that. And yeah, I'll let Austin here sum that up for you.
Yeah, guys, we got a bunch of different things coming up. Pretty much Dota 2 Champions League. They want to be able to announce preemptively what they have planned for Season 3, and it's a lot of good stuff. First of all, the first like 4, basically your basic kind of upgrades. So yeah, you know, if you get a certain amount, we get to see some interesting modes where we get an only mid championship. We get to see an ability draft game or something they call the Gold Madness, which is basically the players trying to basically play the game for kills in order to get extra money out of it. A lot of incentive for a big amount of action. So that is also really, really cool. But then on top of that, the first one, which I believe has already reached the 25,000 tickets sold, Season 3 qualifiers will be available for on Dota TV for all Season 2 ticket holders. So you already get a jump in. You get some added benefit out of the very first milestone of being able to see the qualifiers. So that is really, really awesome. But then the big thing, of course, being a 50,000 tickets are sold, you guys, the viewers, get to select the city host of Season 3 LAN finals. So Kiev, Moscow, Stockholm, Cologne, Paris, or Valencia. So very, very cool stuff. Announcing their LAN finals and allowing you guys pretty much to choose where it's going to be at. So really good stuff, guys, and that's going to be it for the stream. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. I was Dota Capitalist. He was Ayesee, and we're going to wish you guys a good night. We do have MLG TKO that's still going on, so go over to joindota.com. Click that MLG link where if you're looking for more Dota to watch, go over there. Go watch the MLG stream. You may see me there in an hour or so. Thanks so much, guys. Good night.